Look, the paradigms of the world politics changed when uh, Putin tried to intervene in Iran, in Middle East. Arachi went there. He was very happy, and he said, "Muzakharat अच्छे हुए." That is, the discussions went very well. But at the onset, I have been telling you that Trump is going to do something because Trump cannot have Putin intervening in the Middle East. So what has happened? Now there has been a conference, there has been a call which Trump and Putin did for 1.5 hours, 1 to 1. 1.5 hours of call. And obviously a lot of things were discussed, which won't be laid out in the media, but what we know for sure, a lot of things were discussed, deliberated. Let me break this news. There's a possibility that Putin might announce on his national day, that is 8th or 9th of May, whichever, that he may announce a unilateral ceasefire with Ukraine. He may announce a unilateral ceasefire with Ukraine because though militarily Putin has won, militarily Ukraine is losing, but Ukraine has been trying to hit Putin where it hurts the most. That is the oil pipelines, which keeps the Putin's money flowing in. And what does Putin need right now? With his money being frozen by Europeans, with a lot of turmoil in the world, he needs this oil money come in. He needs the oil dollars to keep on flowing. And what is Ukraine trying to hit? Ukraine is exactly trying to hit him where it hurts him the most is the oil dollars. Now that attack in that place called Prem, it is PREM. Uh, it is a place where the pipelines got hit, and it has been 18 or 20 hours still the blazes are there. Putin realized that drones are something which you cannot protect a very vast country like Russia. Drones can hit you anywhere, pretty much everywhere, much everywhere. You can be protecting yourselves from missiles and aircraft and all, but what about those small drones? A lot of them can be even assembled locally and used. That is point number one. So Ukrainians have increased the attacks and they're hitting the pipelines. Putin wants to make money. Putin wants to intervene in the Iran so that he can have a leverage against the Ukraine. But Trump spoke to Putin, and what did Trump tell him? Putin said that, Mr. Trump, you should not be attacking Iran again. If you do that, there are going to be a lot of consequences which I see. He's not threatening him, but he's telling him there are going to be a lot of consequences which I see. And what is Trump telling him? He say, you know what, Vladimir, my friend, why don't we have a peace deal with Ukraine? Why don't we stop the Ukrainian war? I think that is what will help more than, about what are the consequences of Iran. In a way, Trump tells him, buddy, don't bother about Iran. We are handling it. We are in the control. And what you should be worried about is how to stop, Ukraine from destroying you. You should be worried how to sell more oil. And you should be forgetting about Iran. Then Vladimir Putin comes and says, Mr. Trump, do you think we can help you with the enrichment? That is, I can, mediate between you and Iran about that enrichment thing. Trump again replies, well, my friend, focus on getting the war to an end. That has been a long war and a lot of people are dying. We want that war to come to an end. And well, this is what had happened. Now, after 1.5 hours of talk, I think they will be going back and forth. Things will be spoken. They would have agreed. They would have not agreed. Some things would have agreed. But the moot point is that Putin is not going to intervene in the Iran as it was perceived 48 hours back. Putin is not going to intervene in the enrichment as Iran wanted him to do. And Trump is saying that there won't be a deal. There won't be a deal without a nuclear peace. And Trump says the blockade continues. Blockade is bleeding Iran like hell, and the blockade will continue. I'm not going to lift the block. I'm not bothered about ceasefire or no ceasefire, but guys, I'm not lifting the blockade. In the meanwhile, why Putin is suddenly changing? What has happened? Three things. First thing is, I've been telling you that UAE's exit from OPEC is a good thing for India, is a good thing for the world economy, is a good thing for the world trade. Now, we have seen oil already touching $108 per barrel, which is quite high. And, it was supposed to go to 140, 150, maybe higher than that. So, in that scenario, the people who are pumping less oil will get more and more money, will get more and more benefited for that. But the consumers in the world, the economies in the world are suffering. UK is already shaking. Germans are already crying, if I may say so. And on the top of that, you have people who are really, they're in grief, like Tayyip Erdogan and Fidan Haqqan. They don't know what to do. Pakistan is shaking because they know the oil game is changing. Why I'm bringing this to you? It's very important to understand. Look, a couple of decades back, Saudis, for some reason, exited OPEC. When Saudis have exited OPEC, I think the prevailing oil price was $30 per barrel or more. It came to $10. The oil prices really started falling. The oil prices really started falling. Who was the worst hit? Take a guess. The worst hit was Russia. Russian oil industry got devastated at that point of time, and Putin knows the history. And what is Putin's main source? Oil. So Trump has pulled off sanctions from the Russian oil. Anybody can buy the Russian oil. Now, if you mess too much with Trump, what he's going to ask UAE, push more oil into the market. What does Trump want? Trump wants the oil prices to be somewhere around $55 a barrel, 55, 58, so that he doesn't want it to go less than 55, then the shale oil will be unviable. Somewhere around 55, 58. Why? Because at that point, the manufacturing in America will be viable. For the manufacturing in America to be viable, I want the prices to be at a reasonable level. And I don't want them 110, 140. I have midterms, I have problems, and a lot already Democrats and Obama jumping off my back. And I have a FBI director who was trying to kill me. I mean, if the guy is, but though Trump said he's a dirty cop, and if he's kind of indicted, he is looking to 20 years in prison minimum. And this is the former director of FBI under Democrats. That is how ugly the world out there is. We have seen already JD1 shaking. There's a lot of money. Look, oil is a big business. There's billions, there's $1 trillion on the table. Things will go here and there. People will shake. They will start talking strange. So if UAE, now coming back to the discussion, if you don't want UAE to flood the market with the oil and kill the Russian oil and take out away the Russia's biggest two customers, who are the two biggest customers of Russia? The two biggest customers of Russia are India and China. India is very strategic to Russia because, we import a lot of crude from Russia, around 40-45% of the crude from Russia. Though China is bigger than us, but China's dependence on Russian crude is only around 20-25%. But with Venezuela shutting, with Iran shutting, Chinese will be buying more of Russian crude. Now, what is the option? Venezuela was illegal crude of under Nicolas Maduro is gone. Iran's illegal crude business is gone. So where will the crude move? The crude will either move to America, it will move to Russia, or it will move to UAE. UAE is the person who can really start pumping a lot of crude. And if UAE starts pumping a lot of crude, the person who will be badly affected is Vladimir Putin. So I have told you that Trump played a game. I think I was very clear on that. Trump played a game, and you will see in next 48 hours things change. And what my prediction was to you yesterday, in 48 hours, you have seen Putin climbing down. What did Putin say yesterday? Oh, I'm going to see what happens, what is good for the Iran, what is good for the economy, what is good for the world. I'm going to do that. Suddenly, Putin has changing his mind. Why is Putin changing his mind? Because he understands what the implication or ramifications are being. UAE doesn't have option. They're doing pretty bad. They need a US bailout. They will exactly do what Trump wants to do. And there's a problem UAE has with Saudis. So UAE sees this as an opportunity to exceed Saudis, to kill the Saudi dominance. And MPS is stuck between Wahhabs and Sauds. That's a traditional politics of there. So MPS doesn't have a lot of options. So what does he do? He wants to hold on to his throne anyhow. MBZ wants to take the lead. MBZ had been also been to China. So maybe there's an offer. Look, China, if you want to buy more of crude, I'm here to give it to you. And I'm here to sell. So China needs crude to run their factories, to keep the machineries running. And China is suddenly becoming friendly to India, which is not too much of a bad thing. If China becomes friendly to India, so who is going to be the loser? The loser is going to be Pakistan. The loser is going to be all these Islamists and jihadis who get funded by Chinese money. I'm not saying that China will change or China has really changed, but this change in the tactical strategy of China helps India for at a tactical level, not at a strategic level for sure.